This is the Drew Experience, the show that's 80% combat sports and 20% everything else. The show is brought to you by KRT Tips and Tricks, where senseis Wesley Jensen and Darren Stringer are bringing together all minds, whether you're Kyokushin or other stand-up martial arts, in the largest online growing dojo during these crazy times. KRT Tips and Tricks, bridging the martial arts all together and raising the bar. Also brought to you by Kyokushin Shuffle Podcast and Forever the Student ebook with Sensei Patrick Pinto out of Australia. And lastly, if you're an up-and-coming MMA fighter, finding a good manager is hard. Luckily, Moments Management has that, where Nima Safapur and his team, who represented fighters such as Gegard Mousasi, Alex Gustafsson, Pani Kianzad, to name a few more, will teach you about MMA, how to save and invest your money during your fight career, and understand the fight window to make sure you make better choices for before, during, and after your fight career. Moments Management, where quality and care come first. But this is super important because today I'm joined by one of the biggest guests of my show. This has been in the works for a while. It's all about timing, and timing's everything. I am thrilled today and honored to be joined by, wow, this is like the goal. I have to get a red carpet, like a virtual red carpet to welcome him out. I am thrilled to be having. He is the president of All Americas for Kyokushin Khan, that represents North, South, and Central America, and he's on the International Committee for Honbu with Kancho Royama. I have the honor of hosting Shihan Hamid. Welcome to the Drew Experience, Shihan Hamid.
Hi, thank you. My pleasure. My pleasure. We finally met.
Yeah, it's better like we've had, as mentioned, I have to say kudos to Shihan, Tom Callahan, and Sensei Moji from and Russo, and Sensei, he's also a Shihan, but he goes by Sensei still, Russo, who have said that you are someone that that would be very interesting to have because of how you oversee things and how you got chosen for your position. So I want to give a shout out to those three for really recommending you.
They're a good friend of mine. Thank you. Yeah.
No problem. So, the question I have for you is because since you are Shihan and with the role you have, before everything, how did you discover Kyokushin karate?
Well, it was coincidence. I am 57 years old, and when I was teenager in 70s, if you remember, well, I don't think you remember because you were younger than that. In 70s, Bruce Lee's shows was very popular, mm-hmm. And he died in 1973. And those days, his movies still popular, but those days is very, very popular. And as a teenager, my friend used to go to watch the movies, and he got inspired to join martial arts. I didn't know karate, kung fu, taekwondo. We just know martial arts. We should do something. And with two friends. They were my classmates, and we used to live in the same neighborhood. We decided to join a martial arts class, and happens to go to Kyokushin Karate Dojo, which was closest to our place. So we didn't know what is it. We just said, okay, we have to go join us, do something, and it happened to be that dojo, Kyokushin Karate Dojo, and that's how it started. And we found it, the fighting is very real, and it's very similar to what we watch in the movie, and we got inspired, and it just continue doing so, and here now I am. Without non-stop, I continue. I joined 1979, and it's been 2 years now. Yeah, so we're doing this.
So Shihan,
that's happened. It's coincidence. Yeah.
Shihan, I love how you touched on saying you found Bruce Lee and in 1979, because during that era between the mid to late 70s and 80s, I would say was the birth of the action hero films, Bruce Lee, Chuck Norris, and there was even Street Fighter with Sonny Chiba, James Bond, Rocky came out. Did you were any of these other films like
No,
motivations for you?
yes, it's like it's a chapters. I'm saying the highlight, right? The
Mhm.
Bruce Lee was the highlight, and of course, it wasn't just we are going to Bruce Lee's movie. We're watching all movies and all. We teenager, you know what's teenager do. So it's inspired by those movies, Bruce Lee's movies, and of course Chuck Norris, and then Rocky came, Rocky 1, 2, 3, and but Rocky's boxing, but I liked it something with hands and kicks involved. So it just that's motivated me and two other friends and to join somewhere and to start doing, which happens to be Kyokushin dojo. Yeah.
Who was your first What was the name of your first Kyokushin teacher? If you, I'm
Yeah,
sure you
my
can recall
first,
that.
yes, my first. Let me tell you something interesting. When I started 1979, I realized that Kyokushin is new in Iran. So Kyokushin karate was brought to Iran by, at the time, Sensei Shirzad. Sensei Shirzad and one of his students, Sensei, at the time, Sensei Roshanai from Mashhad. And so they were doing a style called Kanzen Ryo. Kanzen Ryo was kind of very close to Shorinji Kempo. So they were doing for years and years. This Kanzen Ryo and Shotokan was very popular in Iran. And then Sensei Shirzad went to Japan and brought Kyokushin almost 6 months or close to a year prior to I joined to Kyokushin club. So when I joined there, I was the first student, like first, second student of that class. And I can strongly say that I'm the first generation of Kyokushin in Iran.
That's
And
amazing.
right, and yes, so my sensei, Sensei Roshanai, and then his and his colleague or sensei, because they were almost same level but different city. They were doing kanzen. They were older than me, obviously. Now he's 80 years old now.
Ooh.
He was black belt in Kanzen Ryo karate, but then they switched to Kyokushin. They switched to Kyokushin, and how Kyokushin started in Iran back in 1970, early 79 or 78. And I joined them. When I joined there, I said, oh, this is actually new. I didn't know at that time. I was 15 years old, 15, 16 years old. But then I realized, oh, this style is very new in Iran. So yeah, that was my student, my sensei at the time, and continued doing it. Then I went to Sensei Shirzad in Tehran, back and forth, and just kept doing it until now. Yeah.
That's amazing that it's like you're the first, like you were the first to discover it. And because when we think of Iran, it's a superpower in terms of wrestling,
Yeah.
especially Greco-Roman. And it seems that Kyokushin really just took off in Iran because I just think that when you think of Iranians, they have a very specific body type for wrestling, and that body type can go very good into Kyokushin. And I think that's because of the explosive, like how explosive we are in Kyokushin with wrestling. So I just feel like being from Iran, do you feel that explosiveness from Kyokushin, from wrestling, helps with Kyokushin?
Yes, it does. In Iran, when this is the I think that, as you say, it's a nature. They wanted to martial art, real martial arts, and what they knew at the time, it was they knew karate is non-contact karate,
Mm-hmm.
and when Kyokushin was introduced to Iranian athletes, they loved it. And I tell you something here interesting. We couldn't do tournaments for a few years. It was banned. Why? Because they say full contact are not allowed. You guys hurting each other. I said, well, no, it's because those non-contact karate like Shotokan and Kanzen at the time, and now there's so many styles. they threatened by us because they saw popularity of this type of fight, this type of sparring, and they had connection in Karate Federation in Iran, and then we didn't do tournament for about 4 or 5 years. They said, "Oh, you can come to our tournament, but you have to do with our rules. That means non-contact. So whatever we do is foul by their perspective." So it was interesting. But then gradually they saw the popularity. They saw how this style grow, and they had to accept it. And our argue was, well, wrestling, we have Roman wrestling, free wrestling, 2 types of wrestling, right? So karate can be non-control, full contact, non-contact. So it's just they finally accept it, and then they allow us to do both tournaments, seminars, and it grew even more after that. Yeah.
That's amazing. So then you left Iran eventually, you came to Canada. Now with that, when you come to a new country, there's the food. So the food is always different, and you're a very cultured man because you love trying new food. So when you like everything, but when you lived in Japan, what was your favorite cuisine that you enjoyed in Japan?
What was so I can't really pinpoint on one particular things. There's a food, they call it nabe. You put a big pot and you put everything in it, and with a friend it's cooked in front of you, and you put veggies, you put fish or chicken, or your choice, and you put everything in that pot, and you add some sauces and miso and everything you like, and then you talk with your friend, and then you dish out and eat. That's very, I found it socializing, and it's interesting to have, and tastes very good and healthy, very healthy. Yeah.
That's amazing. The nabe, for me, I love all foods too. I still have to try like Pakistani food. So my coach, I don't know if you know my coach, but he's his name's Mohammed Chik. Like he's participated in some things with Khan. He's independent, but he always says to me, he's like, have you tried Pakistani food? I said, no, I have not tried Pakistani food. He's like, well, that's one you should try. So I've tried pretty much everything. For me, when it comes to Iranian food, Persian food, so I tried Persian food for the first time in 2014 when I went to LA. So LA is like it's like there's so many Iranians that live there. You get off at LAX, like I wanted pizza, but we ended up going into an Iranian restaurant. That food, I'm telling you, I don't know what it is. I think it's the climate with LA and Iran. Maybe you could disagree or agree, but it's so authentic. Like the way Persian food is cooked, the rice is, I've never had, like, that's my favorite rice to eat. And I don't even feel bloated after. I feel satisfied with the rice.
No, that's great. Well, I think the reason is the real chef from Iran who immigrated to LA, to United States, and residing in LA, so they can make it authentic food, as you mentioned. And it's a real chef. You know, in LA, I was there once. They call it, there's an area, they call it Tehran Jelas. Not local, that's Tehran Jelas. And all the Iranian food, everything, and 1 million people, I heard, living in California. So 1 million Iranian, that's a lot of people. And we have a large community of Iranian here too in Vancouver. About, I heard 35,000, but LA or California is amazing. Lots of Iranian, and I'm sure lots of chefs there, so they can make authentic Iranian food. Yeah.
Now, I like how you said also there's a big community in Vancouver too. So I work for my day job is I work for one of Canada's biggest phone companies. This is not my job. This is just a hobby. But there you are right about that. There's a lot of some of my interactions when I see the names of the files, they're very Persian sounding. So I like to ask out of curiosity, oh, is that name from Iran? And they always say, yeah, how do you know? And I say, oh, well, my father's of Iranian descent. And then they start talking to me in Farsi, and I say, I don't speak Farsi because my dad just didn't teach it to me. But there's also in Alberta too. It's between Alberta. I find there's it's bigger in Vancouver, and I'd say Alberta. And I think in Alberta, because a lot of Iranians, most of them either become civil engineers because of the oil industry or the infrastructure. And it's just amazing to see what the Iranian community has done for Canada. And and now I know you're a Shihan, but aside from being a Shihan, do you have from when you went to university or college, are you also say a doctor or a lawyer or
You're
an
getting
engineer?
cut off, sorry.
Oh, sorry. Is this better? Oh, can you hear me? Oh.
You're got disconnected.
Oh, okay, hold on. Let me just let me fix this here. Hold up. Okay, can you see me now and hear me?
I lost you.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't know what happened. Seems
Yeah,
like
lost,
okay.
yeah, I lost you for 10 seconds. Right.
Huh. Okay. Okay, 10 seconds is not bad. So I wanted to ask you, because Iran's community in Canada, Iranians have played a big role in being in Canada. There's a lot of civil engineers, doctors, lawyers, business owners. You're a Shihan, but what else do you do outside of Kyokushin?
Right. It's my degree is in management. I manage about 5 high-rises in downtown Vancouver.
Wow.
Over 1,200 units in downtown Vancouver. I manage them. So yeah, so that's my real job. But I do karate the side, and yeah, so it's awesome.
I
But
really.
Yeah.
Oh no, sorry. What were you saying? Because
Yeah, I said my main job is the one I'm doing, and management is, but yeah, and do karate at the side.
That's amazing. Well, I really think Iranians, a lot of them are they come from such a good background. There's it's such they have that mindset. Whenever they go somewhere, they start something and they thrive at it. It's really amazing to see. So that's why I really whenever I speak with Iranians in my work, they always ask me what you're doing, what my job is, and they always are so encouraging. They always say, "You're Iranian? Yeah, you're going to be a manager soon. Just wait. They're going to tap you." And
Well, I like to second that, and also it's the I think all immigrants feeling when coming to a new country, you want to catch up. You want to catch up, and it's not just Iranian. I see Indian, Chinese, and Korean. Whoever immigrate to a new place, they want, okay, they think that they are behind. They have to catch up. They have to reach the goal they want. And it's just, I think this is a feeling for all immigrants. You're not immigrant. You are son of an immigrant.
Yes.
But if you are an immigrant, like I came almost 2 decades ago, and I can remember when I came from Iran when I had a huge organization. I was assigned by Sosai in Iran as a branch chief of Iran. And I had organization, over 20 dojos under my operation, very successful. But then I decided to come to Canada, and I came, and okay, now start from zero, right? So you want to catch up, you want to that's why you try to achieve what you had before, get the same level. So that's, I think, the feeling of all immigrants.
Yeah. Very true. Very true. And I respect it. I mean, like I always say, like I always like to have like that mentality, like to catch up, because you always want to make the best life for yourself in a new country.
Right, exactly. Yeah. You want to be the best as you want to be at least the way you were back in your home country. You were you see that you say lots of engineers in Alberta, right? So they were engineers in their own country too.
Very true.
Doesn't matter in Iran, in India, or from Japan. So they had situation. They were engineers, they were teachers, this and that, and then they come here. Now they have to start over. And like doctors, if doctors coming to Canada, they cannot practice, they cannot see patient unless they pass some exams. So they get certificate from Canada, then they can practice. So and obviously they sacrifice so many things. They have title, they have their own clinic. Now they're coming here. They have to go through the test, pass the test, and then start doing practicing their as a physician. And obviously takes time. And okay, I had that. I want to make these things the same as my own country. And you have in mind, you came for better life, better opportunity, right? So you want to be more than what you had before. So
exactly,
it's just all this motivation and all plans and things that keeps you going. Yeah.
Very true. I love what you said there about that. And because like you always want to be better. It's either you're getting better or you're staying stagnant. And it's always good to choose the latter. The other question I have for you is, because you're in part of Kyokushin Khan, how did you end up meeting Kancho Royama?
Well, I was in Japan when Sosai was alive. And during that time, at the time, he was Shihan Royama, and he was branch chief of Saitama province. And I used to see him any events we had, any events from Honbu, like let's say tournaments, or we have summer camp, winter camps, New Year gathering, any events we had. So he was there too, and he was obviously a well-known student of Sosai. Everyone knew him, but I just always and say in practicing together. But then when he decided to go to Iran back in 1995, I was the one coordinating his trip to Iran. At that time, he was Shihan Royama. After Sosai passing, he was for 20 years. He was with IKO1. He was supporting Kancho Matsui. And then he separated. And at the time, he wanted to go to Iran. I mean, it was a request, and then I was involved, coordinating his trip. That's the time I got close to him in very personal interaction, talking and coordinating. And that's how it started. And then after that, in 2000 and 2001, I took Iranian team, participated in Russia and Kazakhstan tournament, and he was there too. He was there too, and then we got to know, because I'm coming from Iran, other countries, he wants to see all the branch chiefs. So we got to know him. And when he separated his way from Kyokushin Kaikan and established Kyokushin Khan, because I knew him very well, I liked the way he's thinking, the way he's doing, and so I just, without a doubt, I separated and joined him. And I was the first one. And so I was actually here, I was contacted by Enami, and he was the secretary, he was the in charge of the Honbu at the time. So I said, sure, I want to come. And then Kanchi knew me and said, oh, you're there. And then I arranged with a few other Iranian, different countries. So they joined too. And so we just established, I established Kyokushin Khan, Canada's Kyokushin Khan organization. So that was how it started with my work relation with Kancho and Honbu and Khan, basically.
His
Yeah.
story is also very inspiring because he was from North Korea, got out of North Korea, and then he was able to go to Japan and really establish himself as you said, like he was a branch chief of what was the name of the province again? Because
Saitama. Saitama. Oh, I wanted to say something. He didn't move from Korea to Japan. He
oh
was born in Japan. His parents went to Japan, and he was born in Saitama.
oh
Yeah,
okay, I see. But
he's Japanese, but his parents is from Korea. Yeah.
okay, I understand now. Okay, because like when I was looking up the history, because sometimes the facts can be like one thing can say something, but the fact that you confirm that, I appreciate that because I want to make sure I present the proper facts. But it's amazing that like came from family that was immigrants from North Korea, and really he's Japanese, and he established himself for Saitama. And what was it like when you were in Japan back then? Like this was during the era when Japan was really like an economic superpower. So what was it like to be there?
Well, it was it's very powerful country in terms of economy. We were saying. I give you an example. How powerful is that? I was there almost 30 years ago, and if you want to get a can of coffee or juice, it was 100 yen, or 100 yen is equivalent with $1 American. So 100 yen compared to $1. So now after about 30 years, like last time I was there before pandemic was 2019, because 2020 I couldn't go because of the pandemic. 2019 for international instructor seminar, the same coffee can or juice can was 105 yen, only 5 yen extra for 30 years. So
Wow.
you could get a juice for 100 yen, now 105. So even here in North America, inflation is about like 2%, I guess,
Hmm.
every year. But after 30 years, and I was telling to Iranian friends coming to Japan, I said, because in Iran, inflation is crazy. It's just like 30%, 40% every year. So I was telling, hey, guys, I used to buy this coffee, 100 yen, now 105. 105. Like, it's just crazy. Like, how strong economy, and it shows how economy is strong, and how government can control the economy and run the country, and it's just amazing. That's just a quick example to give.
It's yeah,
Yeah.
and my father went to Japan. So my father back in the day, my dad was a CA. So it's another definition of Iranian success. He became a chartered accountant. So
Yeah.
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 So he became
Yeah.
a chart, and he went to Hong Kong, and he went to Japan, and he always told me, he's like, one day he's like, you have to go there. He's like, you have to go to Hong Kong. Like it's part of China now, but he's like, you have to see how advanced they are, because they have things that we'll probably never have. And then when you go there, you'll think to yourself, how do we not have this in North America yet? Like like when he was in Hong Kong, he had a friend. He made a friends with a businessman named Jasper, and Jasper would bring him like tailor-made clothing, like for a very cheap price, like designer brands. And then when he went to Japan, had some of the best experiences, like in hospitality. He felt more calm when he was in Japan. And he just said, he's like, it's a place. These are the two places. He's like, you have to visit in your lifetime to understand
Yeah.
how to be.
Exactly. Have you been in Japan?
No, it's a
No.
goal of mine. When the pandemic's over, the plan is to I want to do first a trip to Holland to
Yeah.
shout out to Wesley, because I want to see my sensei Wesley Jensen of IFK. He's NKRT. I want to see him, and Darren in UK too, Darren Stringer.
Yeah.
But I do want to do an Asia trip where it would be Japan,
Yeah.
Thailand, and Hong Kong. But Japan and Thailand are the two places.
Great. Yeah. You should do it for sure. Yeah. You're gonna love it.
I love anime. I love Japanese video games, and I love martial arts. So that's why I do. That's why I do martial arts too. So that's. I want to see that. And when you also said you in 1995 you were coordinating a trip, what was that like? You know, because they handpicked you to say, you know what, we don't want just any Iranian. We want Shihan. Shihan Hamid to coordinate this trip. What was the responsibility
No,
like?
it wasn't that they picked me because I was there, and it was conversation about Kancho at the time. Shihan Royama wants to go to Iran, and obviously, okay, who is familiar here? It's me, right? So I can contact in Iran. Okay, you should do this, you should do that, and I call them coordinating. It wasn't specifically picking me just because I was there. Right, I was there, and it was easy for them to communicate through me, and I could speak Japanese at the time, right? And so I just transferring information. Then country is coming. This you need to do this. You need to do that. This date, just this. It wasn't really particular reason. It's just because I was there, and it is convenient for Honbu to coordinate that. Yeah.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And now, speaking of Iran, you know, I want to ask you because a lot of the time, people say when you think of Kyokushin karate, the two superpowers right now are still Japan for how technical they are, and then Russia for the power. I like to differ with that and say yes, I agree, but I think Iran is a superpower too for Kyokushin karate. Do you agree with that too, or?
Yes, Iran really has very good fighters. Unfortunately, now, Kyokushin Khan split it to so many groups now, and so many groups from Japan, even so many groups from non-Japanese organization. I was caught my eyes a while ago on Facebook. Someone posted non-Japanese Kyokushin group, and I count them. It was like 15 groups, non-Japanese Kyokushin. So it's divided, so many groups. And when in this division, next you can pick a good fighter. Which one is a good fighter, really, right? But to answer your question, is yes, really, they are very good fighters. And generally in Iran, Iranian, they are very good with single person sports. Like as you mentioned earlier, look at wrestling. Always in world scale, I'm talking about, is top 3, 1 Iranian. Or weightlifting. You see, weightlifting, they're very good. Iranian, they're very good with single sport, single person sports. They're very good at it. And in taekwondo, even females and male, they are very good top fighters in taekwondo. And also karate. Not only Kyokushin. If you look at this, the non-contact karate too, like Shotokan, Goju-Ryu, because they have same style of fighting. They're very good in kata and kumite, and including Kyokushin too. They are very good fighters, And as you mentioned earlier, if they had opportunity to go out and to show themselves and easily travel wherever they want, and show their skills, and it would be much recognized and how good they are. But it's just some restriction about their traveling, and but they're very good fighters. Yes, I second that. I agree with you. Yes.
And as mentioned, I will never take anything away from the Russians or Japanese. But what I always say about Iranians is like Persians are bred for not only single person sports but combat sports. We have that gene in us because you think of the ancient Iranian history. Persians are always warriors. They're very proud. They're very active. They have that mentality to always like for example, I'm sure you know Sensei Steve Fogarazzi from Contact Kicks in IFK, right? You've heard of? Okay.
Yeah.
So Sensei Fogarazzi had a student named Amir Bemaye under him, and Amir was an Iranian. He was from another school. He was a Sandan, but he was really like a Nidan. If I have the story, by the way, like if Fogarazzi, if you hear this, I'm just paraphrasing the story, so I'm trying to say the best as I remember. And Amir took time off Kyokushin but he has like that muscle memory where he could take 10 years off and then just come back in and he's like, oh, it's like I didn't forget this. And I think that has to do with, you know, that I really think that Persian warrior gene exists if you have it. It's like
Right.
we could stop something, get back into it. It's like go time. It
Right.
doesn't matter.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I really can't explain like Persian the history or Persian pride, or you know, Persian they have like 3,000 years of history, you know, and so that could be some a factor, or the body type, and it's. But whatever it is, they have that sense of pride that they have. Okay, I have to get it done. I have to accomplish this. Whatever I want to do. It's just, yes, that's true. Yeah, and you know, it's to give. We should give the credit to other countries too. There are
Mm-hmm.
good fighters in other countries, and it's. It just goes back to the person's personality, and it's yeah, everyone can achieve. It's not just I don't want to make comment that is it could be interpreted like a racist comment that is Persian things, but no, it's everywhere. People, if they put their mind and they put their mind and body and commitment, then they can achieve that. Right.
It's very true. Oh, that's what I love about Kyokushin, like, because Kyokushin only cares about one thing. What's the effort you're putting in the dojo? What are you leaving in there? And when you're in the kumite, that's why I do it. Like when I was getting my green belt, I had that mentality, not because I'm Persian, but I said I have to get my green belt in a certain amount of time, because when I got my green belt, that's when I was going to become independent for the time being and just take a break. You know, I'm kind of on a break, but getting the green belt is like a big deal. And when I say this to like your students who like will watch this, guys, don't rush to showdown and never rush to black belt. You won't enjoy it as much as the process. You have to enjoy getting your orange belt. You have to enjoy getting your kyu. You have to enjoy it slowly. Everybody wants to be a black belt, but if you do it faster, you're not going to enjoy it. I wanted to get my green belt, and when I got my green belt, I realized, do I really want to get my showdown in 3 years and then quit, or do I want to take my time? And when you get to that level, I think you have to have that conversation with yourself. Like how do you want to go about it next?
That's correct. That's correct. Exactly that you're saying. Is I'll always say my student, the grade, okay, when it's time, just go and get it. Go and get it. Don't expect that they're giving to you. This is, you have to earn it. You have to earn it by showing your skills and by showing your techniques, by showing that you deserve it. And it's not that, okay, I give it to you, is you're okay, you give your green belt. If I give it to you this way, I say, oh, you're okay, but try harder. Just say, I want to do it again. I want to hear it from you, because this is something you have to earn it. And if you earn it, then you respect it, you value it yourself. And in future, if happens to stay in this, and you will do the same to your student. Because if you get it easy, I always give example to the students that, okay, if you're grade 9, 10 in school, 11, everybody at this in the class, they pass from, let's say, grade 10 to grade 11, and you get A on math, you get B on science, the C on this. And if the person gets A or A plus and the person gets C, they all pass from this level to the next level. But which one has more value? The one has A plus, or you get with C, like minus C. You're all passing, but be the one with the A plus, and be the one with the A plus, and that's, you value your own. You feel good inside, and that's you earn it. That's my point always, to tell them that don't be just looking for changing the color. It doesn't mean anything. You can get the color, go buy with $10, get any color you want, but you have to be qualified. You have to deserve that color. That's true. what you're saying.
Very
Yeah.
true. Yeah. Now, with your role as the president of all three Americas, which is North, Central, and South, how do you feel Kyokushin Khan is going to grow in 2021? With everything going on.
Well, in this year you're talking about is, this pandemic started last March almost in Canada and still ongoing. Like yesterday, I was listening to the news. We had 900 new cases of COVID-19. So still we are on the tough restrictions. And to be honest, in 2021, I don't see any activity. I don't see anything that happens to our, could be by summer, this restriction lifted, but I don't see anything happens, anything big happen in 2021, although we planned for Kancho's trip to Costa Rica. Mm-hmm. And already announced it to everyone, but we don't know if he can travel by then. Is the first week of August we have seminar with Kancho Royama in Costa Rica. Sensei Mauricio, the branch chief of Costa Rica, hosting this event, and we don't know we're going to go or not because of this situation we have. So I don't see any huge plan for 2021, but we definitely, when restriction lifted, we have lots to do. We are not the largest, but I can say one of the largest Kyokushin group in whole world. To prove my statement, if you look at this KW Kyokushin World Union website and go to the members, you see how many Kyokushin Khan members are there are in that website, and we're a very large population compared to other groups. I'm not saying the largest, but one of the largest. And we have, I'll give you just a few numbers. We have almost 25 branches in North America, and we have 15 branches in South and Central America. So total of 40 branches just in Americas. And some of these branches, they have like a few dojos affiliated with them. So we're large in other part of the world too, in Japan, in Middle East, we're very large. So, and of course, we have lots of potential, and we're just waiting for this pandemic is over, and we can just easily communicate, make plans. So we are one of our branches in Montreal, actually, Shihan Sylvie. Is do you know Shihan Sylvie?
Yeah.
We have four dojos in Montreal. So we are planning to have a national tournament. Well, the national for Canadian, but usually American participate too, to have a tournament there. Japan is planning for this coming October or November, having a plan. So we're just waiting for 2021 to answer your question. I don't see anything happens that quick because of uncertainty. We don't know what's going to happen, and still tough restrictions everywhere. But as soon as this is over, then we have lots of plans to do. We're going to grow faster, and we're already big, and hoping for expanding our organization, hopefully. Yeah.
That's really good, and I'm really glad that you really touched on that. You're being very a realist, because we see a lot of people say, "Oh, by fall, yeah, we're gonna have it by fall, the tournaments." But at the end of the day, if you're a leader for a reason, because you understand, as you said earlier in the conversation, you have your degree and specialty in management, so you have to know when to mitigate and when to manage expectations, because you don't want to be giving people false expectations, because then that hurts your credibility. So I really like that you said we have to be very realistic now, because it wasn't like before, and where we kind of said this will be for 2 weeks, flatten the curve. No, it's like we have to be careful.
Right. See, so many dojos are closed, And even if you open it, like we got instructions from Karate BC, and they say, oh, you can open your dojo, but you have to have mask and social distancing 2 meter, 2 at a time. So it's very, very tough restrictions, which in karate, in Kyokushin, in all combat martial arts, you have to fight. You have to fight. You learn front kick, then you have to do it and see how it works. So if we can't do that, then it's difficult. So with this restriction everywhere now, it's tough to continue to the real training. And I'm hoping as soon as this all things is over, maybe by summer, because they are giving vaccine to everyone now. And if things going, this COVID variant is also coming all the way, always new variant is coming, making it scary for people. But let's hope for good. And by summer, if everyone get vaccine, you get vaccine maybe in Canada, but then other countries has to be safe too, so you can travel, right? So it's just not us, everywhere. And if you want to make a huge, big plan, like as I mentioned, we got tickets for Kancho Royama for August 6, 7, 8. But we have the ticket, the branch chief of Costa Rica arranged things, but we don't know if you want to go or not. So again, back to your question, in 2021, what we're going to do, I don't have an answer. I don't think we can do much this year. Yeah, hopefully.
That's understandable. Well, Shihan Hamid, you're doing such an amazing job with everything, not only representing the three Americas, but also being an international committee member for Khan. And what is the most enjoyable part about the role you have? Because it takes a lot of responsibility to do what you do, and you have to love it. What is it that you love about the role you have upon yourself now? Well, whatever.
Right. It's the most enjoyable part is interacting with people. Is just being in touch with people and hearing what they are saying, and conflict resolution. That's my also part of my job. My other job that I'm doing is with interacting with people, solving the problems, and is the same as his. I got to know so many people around the world. So when I go to Japan, from other countries coming, we know each other. It's very blessing, when you go somewhere and people from countries that you've never been there, but if you go there, they are there for you, and I'm here for them. So it's just like a sense of community, having like always Kancho says, Khan is a family. We are a big family, and this sense of community, interacting with people, getting to know people, being friends all over the world, having friends around the world. It's just a blessing. I love it. I love about it. Yeah. I learn from them. Whatever I know, I tell them, and we learn from each other. It's just amazing. Yeah.
That's amazing. And I guess that's what we'll conclude it at. Always be open-minded, because you never know which opportunities can come to you. So if people ever want to connect with you on, say, social media, where can they find you, Shihan?
Well, my website is there. They can contact me through my website, Kyokushin-Kan.ca. I am on Facebook. I am on Instagram. So Hamid Asna, they can easily find me, Google me. My website, easy to find me. I'm around. Yeah, I'm in Vancouver. So it's not hard to find. I'm just easy to find. My website, so I love to hear from people. Right.
Awesome. Well, I really want to thank you for coming on the Drew Experience to talk about Kyokushin, because I love, as mentioned, the show is martial arts based, but I have to always represent my Kyokushin community, because I think we have one of the richest communities in martial arts. So it's about highlighting it and bringing, and you know, as Sosai said, you got to raise the bar always, no matter what, with the art.
Right, right, exactly, right. I really thank you for your time. And from here, from this uh, channel, I want to say hello to everyone and wish everyone the best health and best luck for 2021. And hopefully we get over this pandemic and we can meet all my friends and new friends, make new friends, and let's hope for that.
Perfect.
Yeah.
All right. Well, the show, as man, just to let you know, the show will be on you. If you like martial arts, make sure to hit subscribe, like, share to raise the bar. And let's give Shihan Hamid Asna the love and support he deserves for the work he does.
Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you. Us.